a privilege to welcome Birgit, the library's youth officer, who will be discussing a stress-less approach for high school students with Zoe Jack, founder of Zode Kinesiology. While this discussion is geared in support of high school students who are doing their best to learn in these stay-at-home COVID-restricted times, I'm certain the tips and techniques that will be shared are going to be relevant for us all, no matter what we do. Before I hand over to Birgit and Zoe, I'd like to note that this discussion today is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied on as health or personal advice. Always seek the guidance of your doctor or other qualified health professional with any questions you may have regarding your health or a medical condition. I would like to add that Zoe is accredited in kinesiology. And now I hand over to Birgit and Zoe to share some stress-less approaches.
Thank you very much, Christine, and welcome, Zoe, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
You're welcome. It's lovely to be here.
Great. Thank
everybody.
You to everybody who tuned in today. I think it's fair to say we are all a little bit stressed at the moment. And our students, I think, have every reason to be stressed, and we all feel for you. Now, I thought, Zoe, why don't you take us through what is stress, and is there a difference between stress and anxiety, and can stress actually be a positive thing as well?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, look, I take my hats off to the young people of how resilient they are and how they've been able to cope with COVID and lockdown and this ever-changing world. It's been a roller coaster, I have to say, and it's not a surprise that people are struggling, to be honest. So stress is very much around, it's stress and anxiety are both natural bodily responses to a threat. When we feel unsafe, we will have a bodily reaction. It comes from the amygdala at the back of the head, where our fight-flight senses are. And then we get this flood of hormones. So with stress, it's really the ability for us to stay safe in any given situation. So stress mostly is around a sense of overwhelm, when you feel like you can't cope emotionally or mentally. The difference is with anxiety is that it's more prolonged. So you still get this sense of overwhelm, stress, this feeling of being, your heart palpitating, you're going fast, your breathing becomes shallow, you feel hot and sweaty. But that is actually over a longer period of time, it then becomes considered anxiety. And this is where it's, I guess, where it becomes more of a problem, because we then need to seek more, I guess, more intensive supports that we have to look for that. But having said that, stress can be good. Look at the Olympics that have just happened. Those athletes were under stress. They put their bodies on the line, and the flooding of adrenaline into their system creates this amazing ability to perform personal bests. With students, it's that rush that you get before an exam. Your body reacts to the exam as being a threat. So you end up having this adrenaline rush and this push of energy and this push of activity, which actually results in you doing well in your exams.
That's so true. I think the Olympics have saved us all a little bit.
Absolutely. Hanging out for the Paralympics now.
Now, so speaking of exams, we might have a few Year 12 students here who are looking towards having their trial exams at home, a situation obviously that is much different to what they expected all year.
Yeah.
All you hear about is your trial exams for so many years. So How has COVID and the lockdown really impacted our students?
Yeah, it's school is a wonderful thing. I'm sure many students are going, no, it's not. But school is a wonderful thing. It gives you predictability. It gives you a routine. It enables you to know what is going to happen when, so we feel safe in whatever we're doing. We get behavioural cues when we're at school through our peers and through our teachers. We learn, obviously, so we have that academic learning. And then we also have the opportunity to enjoy extracurricular activities where we can actually start to express ourselves, allow our hearts to be seen, and our own individuality comes out. The social interaction that we get helps us feel a part of something bigger, a part of something that we belong to. But then you throw COVID in and you throw lockdown in. And all of a sudden, I can speak from experience because my son is at school. He's 14, and this is how he's approached it. And he has gone, awesome. I don't have to go to school. This is fabulous. I've got all this freedom. So all of a sudden, there's a sense of freedom and excitement and an increased choice of what you can do. But then the learning curve comes in, and all of a sudden you have to self-pace yourself. You have to be resourceful and resilient. You have to learn and absorb through a screen like this. And then all of a sudden the things that school give us, the routine, the predictability, the behavioural cues, the social interaction, all begin to fall away. And so over time, as that falls, we begin to feel distracted. Boredom will increase. We'll put something off because we've got this freedom. We can go down the beach instead of study. And then the tensions in the home will start to increase. And we're all trying to vie time in the home as to where we sit, where we do things, the interaction of noise. And so all of a sudden this isolation and this tension increases, and we start to feel like we're falling behind with our studies. And then we start to go, oh no, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And that's when we can't cope. And that's when we get this physical and emotional reaction to the stresses that we're experiencing.
Thank you. And so you're, as Christine introduced you, she said you're accredited as kinesiologist.
Yeah.
I did practice this before. How can kinesiology help, and what is it?
Yeah, look, kinesiology is a magnificent modality, and it's often called an alternative or complementary therapy. It works with the Eastern traditions and Western techniques of supporting the body to move energy around the body. So I work a lot with energy, and what we look at there is this, when we feel stuck in our body, we can get this stagnation, and when we get stagnation, we can start to feel pain, and when we get prolonged moments of pain, we start to get dis-ease. So the way kinesiology works is we work with the physical structure, looking at the body, the muscles, the organs, the meridians, which run all the way through the body. Beautiful. Thank you. Here we go. So we're looking here at the physical aspects. So all the aspects of the body, including the movement. So when you're physically feeling good, your body will move better and you won't feel stuck. And when we feel stuck, we get disease or stress or anxiety. We also look at the biochemical aspects. So this works with the hormones, the minerals and vitamins. I tend to not work so much in that area. I like to refer people to naturopaths or dietitians for the biochemical aspect, but it is an area that I have trained in. The psychological area is where I do most of my work. I find it wonderful talking to people about their emotions and their mental processing. I also work a lot with limiting beliefs, so where people feel stuck or not good enough, or they might feel that they're not a part of something. So the psychological aspect of kinesiology, particularly through lockdown and COVID, has been really big in this area. And then energetic is the someone said to me, the energetic bit's all the woo-woo bit, which I loved. So it's all where we talk about the areas bigger than the body, like the universe, the auras, the chakras that run through your body, the energy centers. And then bringing in connection to your higher self through crystals and oils and sprays. So it's, and even sound as well, which has a vibration too. So kinesiology is a true holistic approach. We access and support all aspects of the body, mind and spirit.
Thank you, Zoe. And how does it work? What tools can kinesiology, or the approach that you're helping with, what tools can it bring to increase our focus and to reduce the stress we are all feeling, and maybe help us sleep a little bit better?
Yeah, for sure. So in this talk, I've kind of pulled this into three main areas. And if Christine could put the slides up again. Sorry, Christine. And we'll just move through each slide. That would be great. So because of working with at home and the stress of studying and all that aspect. So if we can just move to the next slide, that'd be great. I've aimed at looking at the support and focus, supporting focus and concentration. It's so easy to be distracted at home. The number of times I've walked up to the kitchen to get something out of the fridge is ridiculous. So one of the key areas that I like to work with is crystals and oils. So as you can see to the to the right of the screen and below, there's some crystals and oils that really help. Hematite is wonderful for concentration and also for grounding. So when you're feeling like everything's in your head and you're overwhelmed, you can hold hematite and it will actually help you bring all the energy down your body so you feel more grounded. Likewise with tiger eye is a beautiful crystal which works a lot with the solar plexus as well. And with that, it's often called the personal power, the aspect of personal power, but it helps with left-right coordination of your brain. So when our brain is in balance, we function better. The oils that I like to use are lemon and rosemary, and you can actually put them in together. So these are really good for that alertness and focus, mental clarity. And the way I use the oils is I will either take a little drop, and I often put it on my temples. I can put it on the back of my neck to help with focus. And also rubbing a little bit on the soles of your feet is a really good way of using them. Likewise, you can diffuse them. So you have a diffuser and you pop 2 or 3 drops in and just put it on your desk while you work, and it will really help bring the mood into that level of focus and clarity. The two on the left, governing 20 and 24 and heart 7. These are acupressure points. Now with acupressure, it's like acupuncture, but you use your fingers. So 2 fingers together is a neutral activator, or you can use 1 thumb. And with this one, with the governing 24, you literally hold the point. Oh, let me try it this way. You literally just hold the points on your head. And what you can do as you sit there and hold these points, if you can see there, if you breathe into that, allow your breath to come through and just breathe into the points there, you will feel your body and your brain relax. It will support the brain function. So these are called primary brain points. And they are so good at coordinating how your body functions and how your brain functions, particularly under stress. The other thing that's great with these, with the being able to sort of bring your body back into focus, a really good way is cutting down your hours that you work. And I'm sure all the high school students are going, yay! So one of the ways that I've found works really well, particularly with my child, is having blocks of time. So you study and you put all your effort into it and you don't get distracted, and then for maybe 50 minutes, and then you take a 10-minute break. And in that time, doing something like cross-lateral marching, where your body, your arm and leg, opposite arm and leg move at the same time. That is a technique that we give young children who are having brain coordination struggles once we've done an assessment of reflexes and learning ability. Cross-lateral marching brings the left and right hemispheres of the brain together into balance. So if you're marching and doing this and using the oils and crystals, you've got a whole rounded holistic approach to focus and concentration.
Is there a special oil that you would like? Are some oils stimulating and other oils calming? So is there something that you would use at night rather than during the day when you want to be focused and alert?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So if we were looking at supporting sleep for nighttime, for example, I would use something like a howlite crystal, or what would be another one? Maybe a lapis lazuli, beautiful deep blue crystal. Both of these aid sleep. Howlite's actually one that I sleep with under my pillow. I pop it under my pillow at night, and it's really useful. With the oils, I'd be looking at something that is grounding and relaxing. So using a lavender oil, quite often, if I've had a very busy day and I'm overthinking a lot, I might have a bath or diffuse lavender oil. Putting in magnesium flakes into a bath with some lavender oil is amazing, because the magnesium relaxes your whole body. It's a real muscle relaxer. And then Roman chamomile is another oil which is really useful, and that actually helps with providing patience. So it stimulates somebody to calm down and relax, but also to kind of open up their perspective a little bit. I always like to say it's a little bit like having a guardian angel in your pocket with Roman chamomile. And like the name chamomile, often people have chamomile tea before they go to bed because it is such a good relaxant. And the other one that I like to use with for aiding sleep is the what's called the Anmian points. It's a bit hard to see, but it's just behind the ear here, and there's kind of a little dip. And if you hold acupressure points bilaterally, so both sides at the same time, and you just breathe, this point is really good for relaxing. So rubbing it or just holding it is a really good technique to support sleep.
Great. Yeah, I can really feel where you mean. Yeah.
When you have when you can kind of tell when things are not quite in balance, because if you touch an acupressure point, you'll actually might feel pain there and a tenderness or a sponginess, and that's actually an indicator to say this point needs some attention. So holding it or rubbing it is how you would provide that balance.
Great, thank you. Now, have you got any tips in how what helps us staying in the moment, especially with this ongoing, we might go from Zoom to Teams to, it's very hard. It's a different kind of concentration that is not broken up by this natural interaction that we would have in a classroom. So it's a lot more intense in a way.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great, already a great tip to really take breaks and step out of it and do something else. But are there any other things that we can do that help us stay in the moment and stay present?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the first thing you have to, personally, I think the first thing you have to do is be really gentle on yourself. This is a tough time, and managing your time and taking your breaks and setting up your space to be as conducive as you can for you to study and stay focused, and getting good sleep, eating really healthy, lots of whole foods with a lot of color, drinking lots of water. We don't drink enough water usually, and coffee doesn't count. And then having the using your breath is a really wonderful thing. It's free and it's easy. And the way I like to breathe as I approach into sitting down for the day, I generally will sit with a beautiful straight spine, and I breathe in through my nose, and I expand my belly when I breathe in. And then as I breathe out, it comes out my mouth. And I often have an audible sound when it comes out of my mouth, partly because it's telling the body and the brain, this is a moment to relax. So I literally am going, and by allowing the out breath to be longer than the in breath, you're signifying to your amygdala and the fight flight center to drop into what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where we feel calm and we feel centered. Another way of really coming into the moment is obviously your breath, but then grounding yourself. And the best way to do that is get a cup of tea, go outside, take your shoes off, be barefoot, and stand on either the sand, the grass, the soil, and just stand and drink your cup of tea slowly and breathe, and taking 2 or 3 minutes on the earth. What that does is it brings in the positive ions from Mother Earth, and you feel held and you feel supported, and you can feel the energy dropping down. It's just a beautiful thing. 5 minutes every day of doing that, and you will feel more grounded and more centered. So here's our grounding slide, which is great. So again, crystals. Using crystals is a beautiful thing. They work best with being on your body. So to be honest, I actually chuck a crystal in my bra most days and have it next to my skin, and I will feel the difference. If I'm feeling like I need grounding, I'll pop red jasper in my bra, and it really works well. The point in the middle, kidney 1, this is a fabulous point, and it's where the dot is. It's as your skin changes color, and obviously you hold both points together. You can put a little bit of oil, the patchouli or sandalwood could go on there. You just rub a little bit of oil on, and then just hold or massage the points. They're just so effective of moving where we feel stuck and getting the flow of energy, blood, lymph fluids, all of the stuff that makes our body work. Holding acupressure points are a beautiful way of shifting into that.
Great. And there's so many all over the body, isn't there? And I think you
absolutely
feeling around a little bit, that helps too. So if anyone is interested in knowing more about how this can help us, or is interested in maybe getting some of those crystals or oils, or you obviously can buy lots of essential oils at the chemist, but maybe more specialized oils or crystals. Where would they get that? Where would they?
Yeah, for sure. So I work in Maroubra. I have a home-based clinic here, and I work with kids and adults. And so I also source crystals and 100% pure oils, which are tried and tested. And I buy them and I can on-sell them to people. So if people are interested, I'm more than happy. They could email me what they would like, an order. And I'm obviously happy to share the slides, which has more information in there. And so oils, crystals. We have things like these, which are, I don't know if you can see that very well, but they're bush flower essences. And you open them up and you literally take them, a few drops. And there's things like adolescence, there's confidence, there's boosting energy, there's one for calming yourself down. I also do quite a few sprays, which are really beautiful, that you can spray around your environment. So all of these things I can purchase for people if they would like to place an order. That's totally fine. And if people are interested in kinesiology, I'm willing to offer a 10% discount for people who are on the session. And they can just contact me through my website or through my email address, which was on the screen before.
Great. Thank you. Now, can I remind everybody, we're going to have we're trying to have, a little bit of time for a Q&A session. So please use the chat to ask, or you don't have to use the chat. You can also just unmute yourself and ask Zoe anything you like at all. Before we get into that, I would just like also to say that the library on our website, we have collated quite a few really good study tips and more links to different to different programs, databases, and everything really you need. So I do have a look at at our website. If you're not a library member, you can sign up online, and library membership is free. I know a few of you personally, so I know that you're already library members. But if you're not, take advantage of that. I think my colleague has just popped these links into the chat. Now, Zoe, we do have a question for you here. One is, have you got any tips for extra screen time? You know how we spend so much time on these screens right now. So have you got any ideas for that?
Yeah, so allowing kids to have more screen time, I'm assuming?
Well, or I think maybe helping with managing the amount of extra screen time, not so much allowing, but these are students who have to spend a lot of time on this.
How to manage it? How
like
is
that, maybe to
Yes.
Iris, did you? Sorry.
Thank you, Iris. It's a really good question, Iris. I think screens and phones are the bane of people's lives, to be honest, at the moment. But they're also our savior. So look, one of the things, there's two things. One is reducing the time on screens. So allowing that time to be like banked up, I guess. So if somebody gets their work done, maybe you can reward them. If somebody helps in the house, maybe they can have an extra 15 minutes on the screen. The biggest thing that I feel about screens is that kids have them in their bedrooms, and having them out of the bedroom is such an important part of their development. So I don't really like my kids having their phones in their rooms. And when they were younger, we were very strict on it, that they couldn't have them in there. It's partly because the blue light that you get from the screen is really damaging to a child's brain development and their mental state. So you can use things like blue light glasses, which can dull the screen that's there. But then with I think at the end of the day, parents just have to stand up and say, no, you can't have it. And they will get the reaction. Of course, they'll get the backlash. But they're managing that. And if you can find a happy balance between get outside, eat healthy, do some exercise, then the impact of the phone is there. And at the moment, a lot of kids are using them for study. So, you know, you're kind of in a little bit of a catch-22. And given the social isolation that we're all under at the moment, I think some level of connection with their friends is actually really important, but it's about managing that. And that goes into then also you can get little discs that go on the back of your phone that cut out the electromagnetic fields, and they're very effective. I've used kinesiology testing with them and I've found them to be really effective. So I'm actually going to be purchasing some of those myself soon.
Which one are they? Sorry, can you repeat?
It's called an electromagnetic field, and it's a little disc that you put onto your phone. And what it does is it interrupts the emitting of energy, of the electromagnetic energy that is the stuff that actually affects us.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
It's very good.
Great.
Stick it on the phone.
Tash wanted to know if you've got any tips for procrastination, which we are all guilty of, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I have. So being grounded and being clear on what your direction is, having an intention for the start of your day. I am going to work effectively and fluidly for 4 hours today. So placing an intention on your day is actually a really good way of letting life know and your brain know this is what you're setting yourself out to do. There's also a really good bushflower essence, which is all natural. They're absolutely divine, which is called Confid. There's one called Confid, which is about confidence, because sometimes if we procrastinate, it comes back to this fear of failure and this sense that I'm not going to be able to do it right. So addressing that limiting belief is really important, but there are ways of supporting that through essences and crystals as well.
Thank you. And now let me have a look. Eugenia wanted to know if you've got any extra tips for winding down at night time and then also sleep better.
Yeah, so in the slides that we had, I did do a little sheet with all the acupressure points and crystals and oils that you can use for sleep. Interestingly, I always find that if you wake up with the light and go to bed with the light, I mean, obviously with electricity now, we don't do that so much, but the concept of that is actually really important. So having trying to go to bed around about half an hour within the same time frame. So if you normally go to bed at 10, don't be any later than a half an hour, 10:30, and try to keep yourself in that time frame of going to sleep. What that does is it helps your circadian rhythms and your sleep cycle so that the body knows it's going to bed. Using magnesium oil is a really good way of relaxing the muscles. And then using the lavender, having a bath, using magnesium flakes, getting rid of the phone. I think the current recommendation now is that you shouldn't look at your blue screen phone 3 hours before you go to bed. And I'm sure most people have a quick look before they turn their light out. So getting rid of the screens a bit earlier, having a consistent time of going to bed so your body knows. The other thing that actually starts at the beginning of the day is get up and get out into the daylight and have a look at the orangey red sunrise. What that does is as you look at that, the light hits the back of your retina. And what that does is it stimulates the production of serotonin and melatonin. Melatonin will last, the melatonin that you create at the beginning of the day by looking at that sunrise for maybe 20 minutes, sunrise for 20 minutes, will give you enough melatonin for the whole day. Now, melatonin creates serotonin, and serotonin is what keeps us calm and happy. Okay, so once you do that, it will help you release yourself back at the end of the day to feel that you can sleep better.
I also found in the past that personally for me, just listening to some calming music can help. And because
Absolutely.
actually has asked in the chat, where is it?
Oh yes, I see, to help you fall asleep.
Yeah, is there anything that any relaxing music playlist or videos? Videos probably not, because we're trying to get away from that blue light, but is there any or meditation apps or anything that helps you personally?
Absolutely. So I use a lot of music in my clinic when I'm working with clients. Interestingly, classical music actually impacts on your brain waves so that you can learn better, calm better. So classical music is quite good. I personally don't like classical music very much. So I will often look at more meditative sites and playlists. I do have some on my phone, and I'm more than happy if people want to search up Zode Kinesiology. I'll see if I can put some names up into my onto my website as a resource for people, just so they can see some of the songs that I use in clinic. Meditation apps, Insight Timer is really good, and another one called Calm. That's a really good area, and they have music, and they also have guided meditations, and they both have free versions, so it becomes very easy to do and cost effective.
Sorry, I'm just going to put that Insight Timer in here in the chat, because I use that myself as well a lot. And I found that to be really, really good. Now, Iris wanted to know whether the salt lamps are good for the electromagnetic field of the computers to reduce the radiation effect.
Look, I have a salt lamp. You can just see it in the background there. I have two salt lamps. I have one in upstairs and one downstairs. I find that they are really good for calming, and because of the salt, it's the positive ions that you're getting into the air, and the light of it is again that almost that sunrise sunset light, so it's really good for your brain and your body. In terms of them reducing electromagnetic fields, I'm not sure. A really good crystal for that though is black tourmaline, is a really good, and it absorbs electromagnetic fields, so it's a really good crystal for that. Smoky quartz or black tourmaline are very good, and you can pop them next to your computers or even near your bedside table, and they work really well. I think with the salt lamps, they're more about inducing a sense of calm and clearing the energy of negativity rather than necessarily than the electromagnetic fields.
There we have the black tourmaline.
Yeah.
I was just actually wondering how to spell that. Black tourmaline. I just popped it in here. That's great, Zoe. Thank you so much for all of this. If there are no further questions, I mean, you can also just email Zoe. I'm sure she'd be more than happy.
Absolutely.
to emails. But with that, I would really like to thank you for your time today, Zoe.
You're welcome.
And I'll pass over to Christine. Thank you.
I'm just thanking you both, and lots of really wonderful tips that we've all learned. Just reminding everyone that we do have a lot of with the current climate that we're in, we're kind of adding events as we go to our program, so do keep an eye on things. I really can't thank Zoe enough. She actually approached us and said she wanted to share the wonderful benefits of kinesiology as just one modality of health and well-being. And I do want to reiterate that this is not, we're not medical practitioners, the library that is, but we were wanting to share the different modalities of health and keeping well, rather than just preventing illness, rather than just caring after we're sick. So if there is any other modalities that people are interested in, please do drop us an email to contact us at randwick.nsw.gov.au. And I know Zoe would be more than happy to answer any further questions you have directly. Really, thank you. I need to do it as well. I'm just down with a cold myself, so.
Oh, there you go.
Definitely going to be taking on some of those tips. I do use the lavender oil, but there's definitely more support there that I'm looking forward to trialing for myself. Thanks everyone, and stay safe, and we'll see you all on a live Zoom again soon.
Beautiful.
Hopefully.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
Thank
Zoe.
you.